All right, we are live. We have a weird one today. This is Gallade here. This is my friend Airwave, my brother, partner in crime on these nonsense adventures we're taking. Airwave, what are we doing today?
So this is an idea that we actually conceived probably maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. And the idea was to better understand Pioneer as a format and what it is capable of by basically doing 1v1s of old top standard decks from standards past. So we started compiling a list of, I think, what you and I considered some of the more remarkable standard decks since Pioneer really became a format. And we're going to be playing through some of these matchups, looking at what some of the old top standard decks did. I think it's also going to give us some ideas for what we might want to brew for Pioneer moving forward. But I also think it's a cool test experiment to sort of examine how powerful were certain standard decks that we thought were amazing when compared to other standard decks from other formats.
Yeah, not even that. I just think this would be a cool format idea. Just this is how I thought Pioneer should have been done on release, of just like all the standard decks, that all your decks had to be standard legal, not standard legal today, but standard legal at some point in history. And that's what I thought the goal was of Pioneer originally from Wizards, was to like have your old standard decks have a home, you can last forever. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way to do it. But instead, we're just going to test like these remarkable. Not necessarily format dominating, although a lot of the time it will be that, and just kind of set it up that way. I today am on a very famous list from 2015 Pro Tour, Island Floch Standard Blue-White Control. This is known as no win condition list. A lot of games are won with this stupid Elixir of Immortality that you just cycle through your deck, which is great gameplay, and then a super hedge sideboard for all the aggro decks I was dealing with at the time. I took the exact list as I believe you did from the Pro Tour. We're not going to do any tinkering or metagaming. My like is 10 times louder than the Airwave. Noted. Check, check. We're going to try this again now.
Test, test.
Is he too low or am I too loud? I guess that's the real question right there. But yeah, so this is going to be the basic how we're going to run these little standard trials. And what are you on today? I don't have the deck list up right now because I should have been more prepared, but...
I am on Li Shitian's Bant company list from Pro Tour Shadows of Innistrad. Lee went 9-1 with this deck during the Swiss portion, which I think was the highest performing version of this deck at that Pro Tour. He just kind of scrubbed out of the draft format a little bit, and I think took ninth at the event, which is I think pretty heartbreaking to not make top 8 based on draft performance when he cleaned up the Swiss. But
it is weird that the Pro Tour formats had both, and like you could just get tanked by one of them at a certain time.
I think it's a cool idea because it's very much like, Magic is not just constructed; it is you have constructed and limited. I think it's a cool idea. I think I would find it very frustrating as a player.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you just like don't have a good pool, or I don't know. A lot of them are like just like trying to go 2-1 no matter what they can do. So
yeah, it's a tough look. It can be a tough way to get through it. So.
All right. Well, let's get to it. They'll see the list. Where I'm not going to share my screen with you like I usually do. Let's start the challenge. I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna have it set to Pioneer, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the idea is that all these decks should be Pioneer
I
legal.
don't know. We might dip a little further, especially if we're gonna do some fetch land stuff. That will be banned.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
for now, we'll see. If yours is legal, actually, I guess I could just free.
Mine is
right?
legal in Pioneer, so
we just do
fine.
vintage.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, Pioneer. Because you're right. What if we do dig through times eventually? Tournament practice. Watchers allowed. False. Deck required. Did I hit the deck? I did.
Big noob.
I'm excited to get Reflector Mage and whatnot. It's gonna be a good time.
Well, you don't have any creatures, so
Elspeth Sun's champion makes creatures. I do win the die roll. I will keep.
I think going in blind, I would keep this.
We don't have to do that. I mean, there's tons of these events have deck lists, so I'm fine with not doing blind. I am going to open with the Great Land, the Guildgate.
I'll open with my own Great Land, Canopy Vista.
Draw, go, control. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting something that I definitely knew you for early on.
I'm very excited to cast one particular card in this deck that you might be able to guess already, but
Is it Sphinx's Revelation?
it might be. I mean, the greatest card of all time, yes. So what I have to watch out for? Spell Queller? I'm trying to think of what the list has.
You don't have to worry about anything, bud.
This is an aggressive shock here, but I think it's okay. With the way my hand's lining up. Oh, that's right. This is a Krasis deck.
It's just a 3/3 flasher.
That's alright. Card's actually pretty sick.
I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a cool card.
This used to be run with Jace, Friend's Prodigy, right? You get double triggers off of it.
Yeah.
Silly stuff.
Definitely isn't used to it. It very much is ran with Jace, Friend's Prodigy.
Alright, so now it's a little awkward because you do get to play at flash speed a lot.
I think that's definitely part of the strength of this deck is that it tried to utilize flash so effectively.
And I do miss my land drop, which I needed to not do. I think I'm fine just passing this back. I don't think 3/3 is a big enough threat to worry about. Coco's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Another Krasis we can definitely play around. I'm not too worried here. I was maybe supposed to dissolve that just to have a target and then let you resolve the Coco, but you're also on Selfless Spirit, right? So you definitely have to prepare for certain stuff.
I might be. I don't know what Lishi Tian's list is necessarily doing.
I already know you're stream cheating. There's also is this the Avacyn list too?
Yes, it is the Avacyn list.
Okay, put our land at the top.
You don't want the land. Yeah, Quicken Verdict. I'm guessing.
Just the greatest. This is just the greatest play lines, this deck. There's a reason this deck was everywhere for a while. Even if it gets quellered here, I was totally fine with it. Avacyn, whatever. It's just like, it just does a lot of like really interesting stuff that not a lot of decks did ever since before then or after, really. Okay.
So I did that main phase to avoid the counter spell, but did not find anything worthwhile.
Yeah, that wasn't a great one. I think I do this and play my man Jace. And I think we're good to start blessing. I'm also kind of curious as we do this to see like what of the when we start getting to like the really dominant stuff, if we keep it up for a while, what the really I hate this Nissa here, by the way. This is so awkward for me. What the super like dominant decks versus dominant decks, how they actually match up, and like if one's like clearly more powerful. If you do things like no ban modern a lot, you'll see like things that you thought were super broken are like not even close to as broken as another broken thing. It's like Hogak versus Eldrazi, like it's not even close. So I'm kind of curious, standard the same way. Like this Bant company deck you're playing dominated for a while. They're like, if it didn't rotate, it was about to be banned itself. So I'm interested to see how this looks against like other crazy dominant things, like Mono Black Devotion, talking about stuff like that. So
I think also even just seeing the way that it evolves if we play it against like some of the more combo centric decks, like the Aetherworks Marble and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's a very different feel. Maybe you should have plussed up to eventually ultimate. I don't really have a good target in this list to ultimate, so I will choose this pile. Yeah. Hitting my land is good here. I don't think you have crazy haste pressure here. It's more about flash pressure. Okay, another Coco. deck's namesake. I even want to see things like Rally and like the Jeskai Red deck. We're talking about a lot of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Rally deck's pretty insane.
I definitely have to answer this Jace. Do I do it now? I guess I'll take my redraw first.
I know that Rally deck it could be a tad inconsistent, but there was definitely a lot of times where you would see that deck and it's just like, this is the most powerful thing you can do.
Yeah, it was pretty insane sometimes for sure. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this one more time. I'm not sure this is a correct play, but I think it sets me up the best next turn to kind of turn the corner here and stabilize fully. Yeah, these Reflector Mages are pretty bad against me.
They feel awful here, but this is still like just one of the most powerful things you could do in that stand.
And this deck also has the land creature, right? The Sylvan Advocate?
A lot of the versions did. I don't know. I have to pull this list up just to see if this one did as well.
I'm gonna syncopate that for one. It feels pretty good in turn 10. Tracker's interesting. This kind of sucks, but I think I have to syncopate that for 1,000,000. And this
Yeah, I was trying to work my way around the additional sync.
I was hoping to be able to remove this Reflector Mage here, but I guess if Jace takes one or I take one, it's not the end of the world. Jace just makes it like you have to really overcommit to this board too. This is kind of the great synergy in all the control decks. Esper version and the blue one. I just realized how dark it is in here for me. I'll give you 1 second to turn some light on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is about the point in the game where this Bant Company deck, especially pre-board, is just not able to turn the corner well enough. Them having 3 Supreme Verdicts is problematic.
But like Jace in general in this standard against all the decks where it's like I get to force you to overcommit to a board that I then blow up. It's like very tough to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this on top. Well, I guess I'll just take it. I'm getting 2 damage at the end of the world. Going after me, so Jace can theoretically get the ultimate eventually. I'm assuming you have at least 1 land in your hand, the way we've been drawing. Okay, there's the Advocate.
Yeah, I think I'm forced to try to just go after you when you're at this life total, but...
life total of 10, you mean? I love Sphinx's Rev. I'm going to play Sphinx's Rev Control in Pioneer sometime this week.
That's going to be
This is why I had that in my opening hand. It's just been like the greatest thing to do. Alright, so what are we bringing in against the Company deck? I think Last Breath is good. I'm going to bring those in. I already had 2 in, so I go to 4 total. I don't think I want Dispel, but Gainsay is kind of appealing to me because it does counter for 2 mana a lot of stuff. Counters Reflector Mage, Spell Queller, the Krasis. I don't have any way to loot, so a dead card's bad. I don't think you're aggressive enough where I want Nyx Fleece Ram, but I reserve the right to change my mind based on how this goes. Quicken's going to be great. I'm going to get rid of these Divinations. I don't think I need to outvalue that way. I'm not likely to be digging for more value. I'm likely to be trying to resolve a big Sphinx's Rev. And yeah, I mean, I got one more cut. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll see. Maybe I'll just go 1 last breath in. What are you bringing in versus the control threat here?
I brought in 6 counter spells, a Dragonlord Jamoka, and 2 Surak the Hunt Caller. I cut my 4 Reflector Mage, 4 Jamoka's Command, and I shaved a Collected Company just because, based on adding 9 cards that are non-cocoable, it severely limits our hits. We go down to 21 hits. The good thing with this deck is that all of your hits are relevant. So, like, even if it's not like some of the Coco decks that you see now that play dorks and stuff that try to ramp into the Coco and your 3 drops.
Man, this Dragonlord Jamoka is bringing me back too, though, I gotta say.
But it has, I think that based on making these changes, playing less hits with Coco, it is right to shave. It might even be right to go down to 1 or 2, to go down even fewer. But
no, I think it makes sense. We also have tons of other flash threats where it's not like super important that you have Coco for instant speed because you have Krasis and Avacyn and things like that.
Yep. I think it's like it's a very cool way to sort of build out this deck, but it also has it's a weird sort of Coco shell because I feel like it goes against like the Frank Karsten Coco math article.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that's when the article came out. Actually, it was for this deck.
But what's cool about this deck is it very much like tries to just play the top value creatures that you can for those slots.
Did you bring in the Sirac? The Sirac Drag Hunt card? Or no?
I did. I
You did?
think that this is just another situation where you want to have the Sarax.
Yeah, that's nice.
If it's a 5/4 haste threat, that's a good place to be.
Okay, Duskwatch is a little unfortunate because I'm unlikely to let it not flip here. I might want to quicken on my turn just to prevent the flip, and I think I will do that actually. I'm not going to have relevant interaction here anyway if I play the Scryland, so I think not letting you have a crazy turn 3.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It definitely slows me down. There was it wasn't going to be like an insane turn 3, but it was definitely going to be a very powerful turn 3.
Even if it lets you flood the board before I have like any close to verdict mana, I think it's pretty relevant. Another awkward blue-white land-based decision to make here. Also, this makes me really wish I put the third Last Breath in. I think I was wrong to cut it. I forgot how many of these 2-drops you actually have that are relevant. Because the Advocate also would have been great to hit there. I still don't think I want the Nyx Fleece Rams, but it's definitely an option.
Nyx Fleece feels like a little. I think if you have things that like are useless in this matchup, it's worthwhile. But I'm not sure if it's really that good.
We are going to have to let this flip this time, which is unfortunate, but... Okay, there's the tracker. I'm going to dissolve that. I can't imagine a game where the tracker resolves is a better situation for me. We're going to bottom this, I think. I think we just kind of need to get our verdicts. Oh, talk about bad lands.
It's definitely a bad land, but it works well with tracker.
It does go with tracker, yeah. And I mean, this is a standard three color mana base, so yeah, we're gonna take some hits here, but we should be able to pull out of it eventually. I really have to answer things before this Nissa flips. I don't think I have any real Planeswalker removal other than Planner Cleansing, which is not exactly where I want my game plan to be. This sure looks like an Avacyn to me, fetching the double white, but okay, that's Jace. It's an overtap for Jace.
Accidentally tapped an extra mana.
I think I'm just happy to have any hit for this gainsay in my hand, so I am going to gainsay here.
Yeah, this was a very bad misplay by me. But...
This would never happen in paper. Probably not true. You probably just would have tapped and I wouldn't have realized.
Okay. I should have played the land beforehand. I'll say that.
Gotcha. 1 blue mana. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. I'm gonna think about this one. I needed that land that I whiffed on, so I guess I should have kept that land and double spell here. I think that I have to play around you having Krasis here, so I think I do pass. Because Krasis is actually exactly lethal.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm in super rough shape here, though. Like these old control decks definitely can be pretty clunky. So you have to kind of prepare for some non-games, but I think that land was more important than I realized at the time. I was just kind of all focused on the verdict. So Sphinx for 1.
I think I let that happen. I think that's fine.
I forgot this deck is on Mutavault.
Oh yeah, you have a second win condition. Mutavault.
I'm gonna pass here. I know you still have fires in hand, so this Nissa will flip, but I get to block it maybe?
I think I'm very okay with that.
Man, I'm going to 1. I'm going to dissolve this because I still feel like I need to actually control my draws a little bit, even if this doesn't... Okay, now I just need the top card to be Verdict, essentially.
Yeah, because we negate that.
Although even if you have Spell Queller, which you might not. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's a way. Unless I'm missing something. I've planned on cleansing my hand, but I stumbled on lands a little bit too much. I don't think Jace can hit anything of value here. So, game 3.
All right.
Easy win for Wavy Chan. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting little lineup there. So I do think I want the Last Breath, last one. So definitely gonna bring that in. Gainsay didn't even feel that loose. It's just I had a clunky hand to go with it. I'm thinking Dissolve might not be a good enough rate for counters here.
I think Dissolve on the draw might be a little slow. It's probably more okay on the play.
And I'm not totally sure how I feel about Azorius Charm. It seems good in general. I guess it would have been really good there, so maybe I take it back. It would have been pretty game winning if I had one of those there to put on top. Not game winning, but not game losing.
I think Azorius Charm is worth playing.
I don't think I can go down the Elixir of Immortality. I think it's too iconic for the deck.
I also think you need your win condition. So.
Archangel of Thune is interesting. Kind of thinking maybe I want that.
Yeah, I feel like this is where you'd want to play it. We don't have ways to really deal with it, especially post board.
I don't want the Elspeth Sun's Champion though, so it's kind of weird, like in that in between. I'm gonna trim 1 Jace because it's kind of the same role, and I think cleansing might be a little slow. I think going 4 Verdict, 2 cleansing is fine, and then just rely on my counters and removal spells. I will play first. Okay, I'll keep this.
I will also keep. It's a little loose, but I think it's still good.
These are both very us decks. This is very Gallade versus Airwave here.
I mean, I like casting Collected Company. I'm a simple man.
I'm gonna need to draw pretty well here, but if we hit a few certain things, I think we're rolling pretty high. So just need this hat ball to connect, you know. I think I just counter any 2 drop here, so we're gonna counter this one.
Yeah, I think a big part of this is just keeping my board empty. So I think that's very reasonable.
This is maybe a good draw. Okay, now this is a tricky one. I'm gonna keep it top. It's maybe a little soft, but
I love the temples. I think the temples are like such cool land.
okay, it's Nissa.
Very happy about Nissa resolving.
Yeah, I'm not hoping for an untapped blue land there, but
so given what we're playing, I'm happy just to play land, push the Nissa forward, and see what Op does.
okay, that's a good draw. I'm just gonna slam this Archangel thing, I think. Should stop attacks for a while. It's definitely an ever-present threat as I push forward. There's definitely ways to answer it or ways to outgrow it, but I think this kind of plays the same role as that's scary. Same role as that Jace does, where it kind of forces you to commit to the board to break it, and then you just eat a Supreme Verdict or something.
So it's definitely going to force me to commit to the board. We're gonna Bounding.
Oh, it taps
tap
this,
your
right?
dude down.
Very nice. Krasis is a good card. Has a fun one.
And get in for 6. We're overcommitting to the board a little bit, but if we're forcing the verdict, I think that's okay. Or planar
So
cleansing, as the case may be.
Advocate. These become 4/5s if you hit a land drop.
Indeed, they do.
And we know you have the other land, right? Oh no, you played this at the coast. Okay. Interesting. I think we're just not going to attack here, and we'll just wait for a second. This is not a matchup we're well practiced in. Okay, so this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay.
So letting that resolve makes me think that it's probably a quicken verdict. But we'll turn things sideways and hope for the best. We hoped for the best.
Playing this list has definitely, made me lean into the more patient side of my gameplay. So.
Well, you gained 4. You drew 4, 3, which is pretty good. All right, the attack definitely signals something bad for us.
I'm a little afraid to quicken this because if you counter the quicken, I'm dead.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry
I know
about
it's
it.
negate specifically though, so do I even want to let this be negated? Okay. This may be the wrong play here, but it's the play we're making.
Cryptic command.
My math is wrong, I'm dead. That was such a bad punt. Mistakes were made. Wow,
All
that was
right.
bad.
That's
Did you have the negate?
no.
Did you have Queller?
No. This deck doesn't play Queller.
Oh, is Queller in this format? Am I in the wrong year?
There is a Coco Queller format
It's not this one, no?
in standard, but I don't know if it's this one.
All
It's
right,
also
so
possible Lee just had my opinion of Queller and Coco's dog shit.
I should have just not attacked. Did you have Crisis?
No. My hand was Surak,
Can you
Coco,
reveal it? Does it work?
Dragon Lord Jamoka, Tracker, Land.
Yeah, so I should have. I guess I should have just. If I go for the cleansing there and you do have negate, which I know is in your sideboard, I just lose. But I shouldn't have attacked because then I can wait for the quicken, and then if you counter the quicken, I can fight over the quicken and still have my blocker. Or like let the quicken die and then just have it for another turn and try to tap you out. So this was obviously the wrong play, but I still would have lost the negate if I did the quote unquote right play. So.
Yeah, I mean you're playing around Dispel. Yeah, this deck has 6 counters in the sideboard, so it's Negate, Dispel, and Invasive Surgery.
Yeah, Invasive Surgery doesn't hit Verdict, right?
It doesn't hit Verdict, but it hits the Cleansing.
Yeah, so I don't think. Also, going cleansing before attack is stupid. So that was kind of weird. I guess I was supposed to attack and then, or not attack and then cleansing, but then I'm at 3, right? Or I'm at 5?
6, you would be
6.
at 6.
So then I can still just die to like a haste threat or like Coco or something. So
no. Yeah, it would have been weird. I think we would have gone tracker land, um, and then had up mana to crack the clue. Just been a little bit more prepared for the long game.
Well, on my turn though, you still have 4 mana, right?
I would have 3 mana.
Oh, okay. So I couldn't have. So you couldn't have Coco. I guess you could
It
have
would have
Crisis, but
needed to
yeah.
be um, 2 drop Coco, but we
Uh,
didn't have.
well, clearly this is the failure of the deck and not the pilot. So I'm just gonna throw that out there first. That was
Absolutely
pretty fun
correct.
though. I gotta say, it's a pretty fun list to do.
Yeah, I think that there's so just like looking at what we were sort of putting together for this, I think that there's a lot of cool decks. I don't think our list is like anywhere near exhaustive, but we have the mono black and mono blue devotion lists that were very prominent during the Thero standard. I think the 2 decks that we both kind of jumped to when we were talking about this was Jund Delirium with Emrakul and Aetherworks Marvel. I think those are 2 decks that are really going to push what we think. I mean, the Temur energy lists that had like 18 different variations were
Yeah, those are pretty
uh,
legit.
those were a very cool like growth of that meta, and I definitely have an affection for that standard, even though it was pretty. I don't know. Most people would say it was pretty awful, but I definitely I enjoyed that standard playing rogue decks.
That was a good time. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what other.
I
Do
think
you
also
want to go
some
with
of
those?
the newer decks were the Oko Food, the 4 color Omnath, like those
Okay, those
are.
decks are ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that those decks are very much going to be sort of a pressure point with this idea.
there's probably very few fair decks in general that could beat that Oko deck, but I bet it could be burned out in some formats.
You say that, but then Oko just says lol, gain 3 life each turn,
Yeah,
and you're
but
like,
not if
oh,
you're taking 8 devotion damage off Fnatic or something on turn
that's
4. You know, I
fair.
think there are some decks that could just.
Or even like the Atarka red lists, where
Yeah,
like a good
exactly.
Atarka's command is just gonna be like, I pump my board, you can't gain life.
Yeah, just the Temur Battle Rage, Become Immense is kind of just tough for them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that just deck has the answers to everything, but
Maybe it's I think that there's a lot to sort of look at. I definitely think that that Atarka red list, it's not quite Pioneer because it ran fetches if I remember correctly, but it's definitely I think that that concept is going to be something worth stress testing. Those
there's
4 color Omnath lists though were disgusting.
there's also some super weak standards where like the best deck is like some terrible red white aggro lists. Like wasn't there a Benelish Marshall list with a Loxodon that was just like that was like the best thing you could do in the format and it was just not good? History of Benalia.
Yes, but History of Benalia is great.
Hey, I love that card. I've tried to jam in Pioneer. I'm just saying like that kind of standard I think doesn't hold up. But maybe there's an
Yeah,
iconic deck to test out. Drake deck or
it's
something.
it's sad. Those standards were really weak. Where it was like a card like History of Benalia, you're like, I can't beat this. It's a 4/3 vigilance.
Yeah,
There's 2 of
pretty
them.
broken for sure. Yeah. Do you want to test this again or run another one? What are you thinking?
I don't have a ton of time.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say I like this as a first idea. I like this as a first draft. I
Yeah,
think
we definitely run this
was
again.
fun. I think that we'll probably keep adding to the list. I really want to see how Rally the Ancestors works against some of these decks because I keep thinking about Rally the Ancestors.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure. The deck's pretty silly. Um, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of good standard decks to explore. There's a bunch of standard years I missed in the middle there, so I would definitely be down to explore some of those blind, see how it goes. I definitely think I should have won this. I think I am terrible. I think this deck's better, but
I agree that you are terrible. So just before we sign off, have you seen any Rally the Ancestors decks in Pioneer?
yeah. So I can pull one up here that I stole a while back, but this was when not Pioneer but Frontier. One of the best decks was the Rally decks. But it relied on fetch land and Del spells. It was a little different. Back when Frontier was fun. I actually used to really like Frontier. But this has Zombie Rally was the main one that people played, if I could find it. Maybe it's under black white. Been a while since I've dusted it off. Actually, it might be on your account now that I think about it. It might be on the Airwave account. But yeah, black white was the main rally list because you would get the fake aristocrat triggers off the black white zombie.
And is it black white zombie monster truck rally?
That sounds right. Yeah, sounds like something I would name it. Yeah. But that's the main rally deck that's existed in Pioneer. If you want to go a little further back and some band stuff, you could look at the Frontier lists that are pretty good. Because that used to be one of the top decks. But, I mean, it was also, like, racing against, like, Copycat and stuff. So it was a little different than what we're used to here.
Yeah. I forget that Frontier was a format.
I mean, so did everyone else. That's why it didn't last very long. But it was fun. I really like Frontier. The issue with Frontier is that every deck had a clean answer to it. So it was hard for, like, a best deck to emerge in a true metagame. So there are, like, 4 decks kind of bouncing around, and they all, like, hope to hit 2 of them. It's kind of weird. But a lot of fun decks. It's been really fun. And that format had fetch land, so like it was a lot of fun stuff doing there. Like there was a Jeskai black deck in there that was pretty popular with Jace and everything, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Magic is fun.
Yeah, who knew? I'm gonna jam Modern, I think, for a league. I'm gonna try this blue-black Murktide list if we're not doing more standard. But do you want to hang out or are you leaving?
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get the place a little cleaned up before the fiance goes off to vacation for the next week while I work like an asshole.
Yeah, unbelievable. So
yeah,
so I expect you to stream every day this week, is what I'm hearing. That's what it sounds like.
I will have nothing really to do, especially because we have a rugby match this weekend. So like, I'm gonna be a lazy piece of shit next week. So if we want to do standard nothing but stream and also play fantasy football, I can do that.
Oh, that's true. We have that too. All right, cool. Are you doing any challenges this weekend?
Actually, Sunday I might be able to. I have rugby on Saturday, which is gonna take the whole day. But
so I'm gonna try
Sunday. I'm probably just not gonna move. So
I'm gonna try to stream Saturday night Pioneer Challenge, and then Sunday I have a fantasy football draft. So even if I do the challenge, it'll be off stream in between rounds or whatnot.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what I'd want to play. It would probably be red white heroic at this point, just with how much mono green's around. I don't want to play black green against that. But
I played red white while trying to do my last day of qualifying for Mana Traders because I totally forgot about it, and I ended up going like 6-2 versus mono green, and still like just couldn't. Those 2 losses made it so I didn't qualify. It was just like crazy, man. Which is a lot of mono green. I went 8-5, so out of 13 games, 8 of them are mono green. Pretty crazy.
That deck is just everywhere, and it's just I don't want to try to think of a way to beat it. I just want to run my face into it.
Very fair. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna click your face off and then move to the main screen. But
cool. Thanks for having me. This was fun. I'll probably be in chat watching while I'm doing things around the house.
Yeah, think we'll get a list of standard decks that we're going to test out together. But that was pretty fun. That's kind of interesting list there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, bud.
See ya.